your free money station. Neek during the day with you. And today is Health is Wealth Wednesdays. That's right. I have a special guest on the line with me, getting ready to introduce her. But, we know about breast cancer. We know about Domestic Violence Awareness Month, but it's also National Depression Education Month. So I definitely wanted to make sure that I address when someone is not feeling well. We kind of know when we feel sick physically, but sometimes mentally, not all the time. So I want to introduce Kwan Shanari, and she is a licensed master social worker as well as a therapist, and she's a certified life coach. So Kwan, welcome today. Hello, how are you?
Hello, everyone. Thank you so very much for having me on the show. I'm super excited to be here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for carving out some time and being able to speak with us about National Depression Education Month. And, can you go ahead and maybe give us some examples or some warning signs or symptoms of depression?
Absolutely. So, first off, depression, it's also called major depressive disorder or clinical depression. It's a common mood disorder. And so, most of the symptoms can be extreme sadness, feeling hopeless, sleep problems, low energy, poor concentration, loss of interest, fatigue, even a change in appetite and agitation. So all of these can really affect a person's life and really how they feel about their daily activities and how they feel about themselves.
Man, that's something else. You mentioned a few things that I didn't even think about or was even aware. I knew about some, but not some of the others that you mentioned. Now I know some of the statistics out there, they're saying that 1/3 of American adults suffer from depression. And in South Carolina, from the last that I saw, they said that South Carolina ranks 19 out of all the states for depression. So can you speak a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so actually the CDC reported that 1 out of 5 adults in the United States experiences mental illness each year.
Wow.
And that's an alarming statistic, but even what's more alarming is that 700,000 adults in South Carolina have a mental health condition, and more than half of the people with a mental health condition don't even receive any treatment.
Wait a minute. Can you run those numbers back for me one more time in South Carolina?
Absolutely. 700,000 adults in South Carolina have a mental health condition.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot. That's a lot.
That is.
And you said how many go untreated? Or what was it?
Yes, so more than half of the people with a mental health condition in the United States completely go without treatment. And mostly 47.2% of the people didn't receive treatment because they don't have insurance or because of the cost. And so that's pretty alarming to me as well.
Yeah, definitely. So let me ask you this. If you notice the symptoms that you actually mentioned with a friend or a family member, what do you think is the best course of action that someone can take to actually help that friend or help that family member?
Well, one of the main things that I would tell somebody, especially someone suffering from depression, definitely want to seek help from a mental health professional. You don't have to suffer alone. There is help out there. Psychotherapy along with medication is extremely beneficial, but there are also some things that they can do on their own. Exercising, journaling, practicing meditation, things of that nature. So I think that's really important to be able to do some things on your own as well as reach out and get the help that you need.
Right. But I guess the first thing that has to happen is that people have to recognize these symptoms and know that something is not right with them mentally. And,
absolutely.
And sometimes it's tough because it's so taboo in our community. Still, more people are seeking to get a mental help, and that's definitely a good thing. And they're recognizing that they do need some professional help. But what are some of the recommendations that you can say? Like, there's somebody, you have a family member, you have a friend, that they're just not right. Like, how can you convince them to possibly come see someone like yourself?
Well, definitely having that conversation, having that open dialogue, because normally when people are having depression, they know something's going on. Sometimes they don't know what it is, but they know that something is going on. So having that open dialogue to actually say, hey, I'm noticing some symptoms. I'm noticing some signs. How are you feeling? And then suggesting, hey, I'll call with you or I'll go with you, right? I'll wait in the waiting room, or I'll wait in the car, right? Just being that person to take that person to that next step, because they may just not be comfortable with it. It is a very huge stigma, especially in our community, about mental health. And that is one of the reasons why I decided to go so hard in this field, because we want to, get that stigma out,
right?
And make sure that we have these open conversations with
Absolutely.
our families and with our friends.
Yes, you're so right about that. Hey, if you are just tuning in to Hot 1039 93.9, we are in the middle of Health is Wealth Wednesdays. And if you didn't know, October is National Depression Education Month. And so she is a master social worker licensed, as well as a therapist and a certified life coach. I have Kwan Shinari on the phone with me. And so keep it locked in, because we're going to talk more about depression and education about it, how you can treat it, or maybe someone that that's going through it, how you can help them. And you mentioned earlier about prescription drugs, so I want to touch on that just a little bit. So everybody keep it locked in, don't go anywhere. It's Hot 1039 93. Yes, it's Neek during the day with you right here on Hot 1039 93.9, your number one for hip hop and R&B, no question about it. So look, Wednesday, Health is Wealth Wednesdays. And if you did not know, October is actually National Depression Education Month. So, I talk about physical health a lot, but I definitely, from time to time, we need to address mental health. So I have a special guest on the line with me. She is a licensed master social worker, as well as a therapist and a certified life coach. I have Kwan Shinari on the phone with me. So Kwan, how are you today?
I am doing wonderful, Nick. Thank you so very much. Like I said before, I'm super excited to be here.
Well, I appreciate you being on with me, the first time, but definitely will not be the last. And so we were talking about the different signs of depression, and how you can recognize it, how you can help a friend or a family member that may be going through it or suffering from it. So earlier in our conversation, you spoke on prescription drugs. So can you speak about that, and what are the benefits? Because a lot of people are like, oh no, I don't want to do that part. So talk about that for me.
Getting on different medication, especially mood stabilizers, it's a scary thing, because you don't know how it's going to react with your body, right? But the good part about it is that we have the mental health professionals that are going to be treating you are very well versed, right, in this type of treatment. Okay. So if they start to notice symptoms, and you have that communication with your doctor, they start to notice symptoms that may be bad side effects for you, they can change up those medications. There's not just one type. There's so many different types of mood stabilizers.
Okay. All right. And so with the prescription drugs, and then the combination of coming to see a counselor like yourself, definitely I'm sure will be a much improvement in their overall mental health.
Absolutely. So it's called psychopharmacology, and all that is just medication management along with therapy. Okay. And it just refers to treating your mental illness with medication, and then also being able to talk about things that are going on in your life and how things are working or how things aren't working, so that therapist can communicate with your doctor and you can be on one accord with that.
Okay, got it. So how can all of us as individuals improve our mental health, like right now? Is there anything else that you would like to add that we didn't mention as far as that's concerned?
Well, definitely. Like right now, I really encourage people to really start opening up and talking about this, because, as we stated before, the statistics of mental health and mental illnesses and depression especially are at an all-time high, especially here in South Carolina. So just having that open dialogue, finding somebody that you can talk to about this. Right. A social support system is much needed when you're going through things like this, and also just being open to going to talk to somebody. Right. Having some time with your family and exercise, and it releases endorphins, right? So having that time to kind of get out of the house, get out of that bed, pull yourself out of there, and try to get into a better sense of a state of mind.
Right. And then that's so important, because one thing that I've realized over the years about our brain is wired to make us feel comfortable.
Absolutely.
And you know what I mean? And at all costs, we want to continue to be comfortable. And sometimes you got to step out of that comfort zone in order for you to have improvement.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't say that loud enough. That is so very true. All of the symptoms that we talked about earlier,
Mm-hmm.
they all include in how we think and how we feel. They affect our lives differently.
Mm-hmm.
And around 80% of adults with depression report that they're having difficulty performing at work or at home or different social activities, or that they just withdraw from family, friends, even their children.
Right.
Right. So these are extreme risk factors, and even suicide is a major risk factor as well.
Yeah, that's definitely serious. So can you please, like, for someone that's listening right now and they realize and recognize that they definitely need some help and they want to go ahead and talk to you, how can they get in contact with you?
So my email address is my website is www.healingbeyondimperfections.com.
Mm-hmm.
I'm also on Facebook, healingbeyondimperfections.com. Healing Beyond Imperfections. And I'm also on Instagram at Healing Beyond Imperfections. Super simple.
Yep. So give me the website one more time.
Yes, it's www.healingbeyondimperfections.com.
Okay. All right. So again, thank you so much for taking a few minutes out of your day to talk about such an important subject. And, I'm going to continue on the conversation with mental health and different aspects and issues of it. So I thank you so much, Kwan Shanari, for joining me today. Thank you. And, I definitely will be talking to you in the future more as, we continue to just bring light to mental health and how people can definitely improve their mental health and continue to stay healthy mentally. So thank you. And thank you for being on Health is Wealth Wednesdays today.
Thank you so very much for opening up this platform. I think this is amazing.
All right. Hold the line for me.